So, hello everyone, dear second year baccalaureate student. Hope you're doing well. This is me, Mr. Nasruddin Delhi, and I am here to help you with your lessons. So, I hope you are not working under a lot of pressure because you still have time. So, without much further ado, let's start with our lesson. So, today's lesson, as you can see from the board, is going to be about linking words. Linking words, what we call adawat rabt. So why do we call them linking words? Because we use them to link between two sentences or two clauses. So our lesson is going to be specifically about expressing contrast and concession. Before we get started, let's have a look at the picture. So what do you think about this guy? He is fat. He is fat. Okay. Is he practicing sport? Yes, he is. Right. Do you expect people who practice sport to be fat? No. Most of the time, people who practice sport are in shape. But this guy, he practices sport, but still he is fat. That's what we call concession. Concession is when the result is not what I expect. It's, totally opposite of what I expect. So, to explain this in details, let's have a look at this example. Right. Okay. Let's read first sentence. He practices sport. He practices sport. He is fat. So we need something to link between the first sentence and the second one, right? So to link between the first sentence and the second one, and to show kind of contrast or concession, we need these linking words, right? So let's get started with the first word. He practices sport. He practices sport, but he is still fat. But, ولكن. He practices sport, but he is fat, right? Second sentence. We can use the word yet. So, he practices sport, yet. So, they have the same meaning. These words have the same meaning. It's the same, right? So, he practices sport, yet he is fat, right? We can also use another word, right? So, you can say, he practices sport, however, he is fat, right? And the last word that we can use in this context is the following, right? So we say, he practices sport, nevertheless, he is fat, right? So we can use that or but, yet, however, or nevertheless. Please bear in mind that these words, they always come in the middle of the sentence, okay? They are located or placed in the middle of the sentence here, right? Okay, perfect. Let's move to another category right now, right? Okay, so we can use these words here, so the same sentence, right? Same sentence here. We can say, although he is fat, although he is fat, although he practices sport, he is fat. We can say also, though he practices sport, he is fat. Actually, we don't expect people to practice sport to be fat, but this person has a problem. So, although or though or even though he practices sport, he is fat. So please, I'd like you to bear in mind that after these conjunctions or these words, we use what? We use subject plus verb. So the subject is he, and the verb is practices, right? So although, though, even though are followed by subject plus verb. Excellent. We have another word that have the same meaning, which is despite. Despite, it means although, or even though. Despite his practice of sport, so despite his practice of sport, رغم ممارسته للرياضة. Despite his practice. Practice here is not verb, it's noun from the verb practice. Is it good? Despite his practice of sport, he is fat. So the word despite is not followed by subject and verb. It's followed by noun. It's followed by noun. So it's not subject. Perfect. Another word that we use to express contrast. So it's in spite of. In spite of, it has same meaning of despite. It's the same, and it has the same meaning as even though, and although. Sorry. In spite of practicing ing form, something is missing here. In spite of practicing sport, he is fat. So in spite of is followed by what we call in English gerund or verb plus ing form. In spite of in spite of practicing sport, he is fat, right? So please, I'd like you to bear in mind, because this is very important at the exam. Sometimes they give you options and you are supposed to choose right answer. So please, I don't like you to gamble. Right. So I'd like you to be sure of the answers, okay? So you can, so although, though, and even though are followed by subject. Despite is followed by noun. And in spite of, okay, in spite of is followed by verb plus ing form or gerund. Maybe sometimes at the exam you have problem because you cannot, you get the noun from the verb. So maybe it's a problem for you. But I'm going to give you a solution, right, for that problem, right? So you can use despite and in spite of, and you are going to add this sentence or this expression here. So you can say despite, in spite of the fact that, رغم كونه. And here, you don't change the sentence. Let's practice this, or let's apply this to this sentence here. So, despite is followed by noun, in spite of is followed by verb plus ing form. But here, I'm not gonna change anything, right? So I'm going to say, despite, in spite of the fact that, and I'm going to use this sentence as it is, without any change. So I'm going to say, in spite of, or despite the fact that he practiced sport, he is fat. I hope it's clear for you. Now let's move to the second part of our lesson. Hi guys, welcome back. So in this exercise, you're going to show me, or you're going to prove if you've grasped the lesson or no. So here you've got a couple of options, different choices, right? So we have the word despite that we have seen, in the lesson, in spite of, although, and however, right? So let's get started with the first sentence. Something is missing here, right? I'd like you to pay attention to the first word because it's very important. Being sick. He went to school. Actually, we don't expect people who are sick to go to school. But this guy, he is sick, but still he went to school, right? So, which word can be used here? Is it despite, in spite of, although, or however? So the right answer is, can you guess? Very good. So the right answer, the first one, is in spite of. So we have to prove it. Why in spite of? Right, because we said in the lesson that in spite of is followed by verb plus ing form. So the right answer here is in spite of. Let's write it. All right. Okay, so in spite of, the first one is in spite of. Excellent. Let's move to the second sentence. He is rich. He doesn't have car. He is rich. He doesn't have car. Which one is right answer in this sentence here? Okay. So I'd like you to focus on the first word again. So here we have he is, which means that we have subject plus verb, right? So the right answer here again is 1, 2, 3. Perfect. The right answer here is although. But why? Because we pointed in the lesson that although is followed by subject plus verb. Although he is rich, he doesn't have car. So have plus verb. So here we have subject. Although. Let's move now to the third sentence. He is wealthy. So wealthy, it means very rich, person who is very rich. So he is wealthy. He is not happy. Okay. The right answer here again is however. So however, it takes place in the middle of the sentence, and here in this sentence we have concession, right? So he is rich, but or however, he is not happy. So the last sentence. Her beauty, so beauty comes from beautiful. Beautiful is the adjective and beauty is noun, right? So her beauty, so this is noun. Her beauty, she is not married. Okay, remember, so noun, which word are we supposed to use here? So we're going to use despite, because despite is always followed by noun, and her beauty is noun here. Okay, so this is it for today. Break leg. Bye.